Welcome to Jamaica TV Live. My name is Leon, and these are my personal opinion on politics today. Definitely want to say big up to everybody who has support the channel. Really appreciate it. Weeks, days, every chance me get, me just make sure I fix up the place, tidy up the place, so when you come over the house, yeah, you know what I mean? Everything nice and look proper and everything good. So today, me definitely I go focus on policies over politics. You know, the Sunday pass, the PMP have them conference, national conference at the stadium, and definitely get a chance to listen to his vision, Mark Golding's vision for the country moving forward. If they give him a chance, the message of the speech, time come now. So this is basically Mark Golding's plea to the country. Say, yo, give me a chance. Me have some vision. I want to hear it. So me can do better the next election time come around. So yes, this is his plea, and we're there here for listen objectively. So we're just gonna lay it out, and we're gonna watch his speech together, you know. So without further ado, let's roll the intro, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Jamaica.
Ooh, where is the clock's energy? We don't hear nothing at all.
Disorganized, right? Let me give you an example.
Was this intentional?
Jamaica.
It is time to free the Jamaican people from the deep sense of frustration and oppression that comes from a system that is not working for the majority of our people. Jamaica must not squander the chance of constitutional reform we are undertaking as a nation at this time. The Constitution is the overarching guide to the way the whole system operates. It is the rules that we have made for ourselves and the processes that govern our lives as a people. The Constitution is not a meal deal, it is a big deal. As a first step, we must reform the Constitution to complete the decolonization process. We need to decolonize Jamaica once and for all. We in the PNP have no interest in moving to a republic while retaining the King's Privy Council in London as Jamaica's final court. That does not make sense to any progressive person.
Next thing, corruption is a big agenda on the opposition leader topic, and he wants to bring impeachment to Jamaica and the Jamaican constitution. His message is first, constitution reform, right? Him say, you know what, we want to make Jamaica to be a republic first. We definitely need to move towards that.
We want to make the government accountable to the people of Jamaica in the parliament. That is why I brought the impeachment bill to Parliament. So then, when a politician violates the sacred trust of the people, he or she will be held accountable.
So this one is interesting, right? Because I've said it before as well. Portia Simpson Miller and Peter Phillips, they were the one that actually started the initiative to pay down the debt, 2013. So this administration continued that trajectory, and all the way from 147% debt to GDP all the way down to 78% debt to GDP.
It's called the debt to GDP ratio. How big your debt is relative to the size of your economy was cut in half over 10 years, from 147% in 2013 to 78% in 2023. But as great an achievement as it is not enough. While things look good on the books, we are not balancing people's lives, as Sister P would say. Our economy is not delivering prosperity for the majority of our people.
Education and training is going to be the number one issue for the PMP administration when they take office. Time come now, Mark Golding says so, and we definitely we see that as top priority And we definitely appreciate his message on education and training. So let's go.
The right excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey in our schools to build back that self-esteem, that inner confidence and personal inspiration to all our children, regardless of the race. The power of the philosophies of Garvey, of racial upliftment, self-help, collective work, those will allow our children to recognize and believe that they are beautiful and brilliant and can achieve what they will if they set their mind to it and work steadfastly to accomplish their dreams and goals.
Rebel speaks again. I said, be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you're saying to my sister. She could be the...
We cannot address these fundamental problems that are retarding our national progress and holding us back without addressing the weaknesses in the education system. Taking our nation in the right direction can only happen with transformation in education and training. Education and training will therefore be the #1 priority for the next PNP administration. Education and training are the key to a strong society and an economy capable of transformation to a higher level of income and wealth for our people.
In our education and training, definitely him want to include the Marcus Garvey teaching in the school them. Next thing is Patois, the official language of Jamaica. You know, just kind of make Patois formal, and then reinstitute civics in the curriculum for all schools in Jamaica. So, number one, would you want the Patois to be a formal language? And are you rooting for civics? And Marcus Garvey, of course. But hey, very important points.
We must also place emphasis on student support and the diagnosis of learning disabilities so we can deal with those problems early. Many of our children are troubled and need deeper levels of facilitation. We owe this to our children so that they can secure better educational outcomes for themselves. Education must also be the base of transformation towards a nation of productive citizens. The PNP will reinstate civics as a mandatory course in our school system.
Two very important points, I want to fly over on the head, is removing the guarantors for university students. So before it was 2 guarantors, mother and father, for anybody forgot get a loan for university. Burgard did remove 1 guarantor, left 1. So he says he wants to remove all guarantors. So anybody want to go to university, them can get a loan for that, as well as incentivize with the private sectors. So them basically the government will pay the private sector, basically encouraging them to hire more trainees, not directly saying like we are gonna go on the money, but like a tax write-off situation that can work. I definitely see that.
For our tertiary students, our intention is to remove the barriers and take the fear out of borrowing student loans to invest in their education. We will eliminate the need for a guarantor of a student loan, which many students from low-income families find hard to find. The state has a responsibility to build a thriving economy, and the state, not our students, should bear the risk of being out of a job. We will therefore introduce a loan payment rule which caps monthly payments at a manageable percentage of income. In periods where the borrower is out of work, their loan payments will be suspended and tacked onto the back end of their loan term. We will not make delinquent borrowers out of our students when they are unable to access jobs which the economy should be delivering for them.
Turn up the thing, turn up the thing.
In the area of training, Jamaica needs to provide training which is relevant to the current and foreseeable needs of the economy. We, the PNP, will incentivize partnerships between the state's training institutions and private sector companies which have strong training capacity to address the shortage of workers that is now becoming a major factor in the underinvestment in this economy. We will work with the private sector to solve that problem.
We definitely see that. Food and security is his next big topic, yo. And the farmers, man. The farmers, them are go through it right now. Them can tell you, I see it. You see it as well. So that's on his agenda as well. Food and security. What if investments and the farm roads? Yo, I feel like that was a very important topic as well. That very important point, the farm roads. Because if the farmers can get the feeds, the water, all of them something there, for go in the inner them farm, trust me, it definitely affect them and it affect how much them produce as well. So hey, very important point. Go on with yourself.
And expand our aquaculture industry as part of the blue economy. These opportunities must be realized by strategic investments by the state and partnerships with the private sector. Modernization of the sector will not leave our small farmers behind. The needs of our farmers and fisher folk are central to our plan. It requires investments in training, farm roads, irrigation systems, storage facilities. It requires integrated relationships between larger investors in agriculture and agro-processing and smaller farmers to achieve transfer of technology and best practices. It means deepening the linkages between farmers and other sectors of the economy, especially the hotels and restaurants. Many of these initiatives started under previous PNP governments, but they need to go further. And the next PNP government is going to be treating this as a priority. We will expand the mechanisms of technical support for farmers and revive state support in the areas of marketing and distribution, including having clean and dignified markets for our people to come and buy their food.
Everyone's affected by energy bill, and JPS, me I beg on the please, JPS I be Jamaica bad from Wapi kill filler in a man. Hey, trust me. So a big takeaway from the energy policy that he's putting forward on the table right now is regularize. Let me say it again. Regularize bill. So basically, you would have a regular bill. So based on how you use energy and how your light bill would set up months, you know, them see how your bill set up. So for instance, you are gauge between $4,000 and $6,000 a month for rent, for light bill. It would then there right in the middle about $4,500 or $5,000. That would be one of his approach towards regularizing the bill.
Electricity consumption in Jamaica is also a challenge. It has an important social dimension as people fear disconnection, fear prosecution, and they suffer the inconvenience of prolonged power outages when JPS imposes protective measures to reduce non-paying consumption. Many families in Jamaica want to regularize their status as electricity consumers, but cannot afford the high cost of rewiring, inspection, and certification to do so. The next PNP government will introduce a major program to assist households to regularize their electricity consumption. And we will include, as part of the regularization process, the installation of solar panels at people's homes so that ongoing electricity usage of regularized customers is more affordable and also reduces Jamaica's carbon footprint.
Contract workers, yo, me know this personally, right? So we have a whole heap of company where keep the employees on as contract workers. The employees, them are workers, contract workers for weeks, months at a time, and them not get the benefit as an employee. So I feel like this is a very important topic where I'm touched upon. So make we listen what I'm have to
We
say.
will put a stop to the abuse of this mechanism so that all our workers will enjoy the rights and benefits to which they are entitled under law. We will also revamp the Employee Share Ownership Plan Act, giving existing owners in the society incentives to facilitate their employees acquiring a piece of the pie.
Income tax. Hey, income tax are one of the things that beat the people in body now. So Mark Golden says he wants to move the income tax threshold to at least $3 million. I feel like a whole heap of people will agree to this one as well.
Threshold from 1.5 million to at least 3 million to take account of the high levels of inflation since it was last reset 7 years ago and give a reasonable buffer for ongoing inflation, which is still a problem. And we're calling on the government to implement that increase. Comrades and friends, my fellow Jamaicans, we live in an era where people want to have a piece of the pie. They want to be owners too. And the People's National Party wants that for them. It is important to build an ownership mindset so that more people can build intergenerational wealth. We want the Jamaican people to feel part of the society and treat it like they have a real stake in it.
The macroeconomy is something will affect what we see on the ground right now, because I always say like the numbers look good on paper, but one of the reasons why we not actually see it and feel it is because the macroeconomy sector is really struggling.
We will create a supportive and nurturing ecosystem for startup businesses so that formalizing their businesses is attractive, welcoming, and easy. Tax requirements, red tape must be minimized and simplified to allow new businesses to successfully establish themselves within the formal system, where they will have access to finance for expansion and other benefits that are not available in the informal sector.
Okay, so I've heard about the beach access issue and how the government sell all of the land them to, basically private investors and anybody will want a piece of the beach, and them are close off the beach access to the citizen.
And we must also deal with the vexed issue of beach access. Jamaica, as we sell more sand and sea to the hotel industry, local communities are losing access to beaches as a place where families can enjoy themselves and fishing communities can thrive. Traditional access is a thing of the past, and it gets worse with each announcement of another hotel development. Each time yet another beach is removed from the public's use. It can't stay that way. Imagine growing up and going to a beach, creating lasting memories with your friends and your family over the years, and then one day a fence goes up or a wall is built and you're cut off from your beach and your memories. That is not right, people. The form of social exclusion has become a prejudicial line against ordinary Jamaicans, and these things create vexation in the nation. Beach exclusion reminds us of our long history of injustice, and the people have a legitimate complaint. The next PNP government will address this issue. We will work with all stakeholders to implement a progressive beach access policy. The state has leverage to protect the public interest as the Beach Control Act makes provision for the acquisition of rights over private land to provide beach access to the public. The PNP will use this tool in the public interest. We will adjust this if we have to, because we have a vision of tourism that is in harmony with ordinary Jamaican people, so the benefits to our society grow and our society can get wealthier from it.
Security, and this is a big one. This is a very, very big one. I definitely, I was looking forward to hear his initiative on the security, because I feel like that's one of the biggest issues that we are facing at this point, right? Because crime rate, the out of control for the past 5-6 years right now, and this is something. If him have a better vision than what I go on right now, trust me, I have my vote, Mark Golden. So I go hear him have to step on the crime and security at this point.
So, what is our strategy for dealing with this long-term problem? Our position on crime, violence, and the delivery of justice for our people remains consistent. It is rooted in our vision of social transformation. We believe in a balanced approach, using both crime control as well as crime prevention measures to deal with the issue of violent crime. A balanced approach is essential to social harmony and crime reduction. And a more cohesive society is essential to reducing discontent and violence in the society.
State of emergency in our work, and him a promise effective intervention. Social programs, you know that thing they go again, you know, jobs and mentorships and all of the above.
Have to deal with it without this state of emergency fixation. They have used this state of emergency, and it is a failed strategy because it is not designed as a crime-fighting measure. And they've introduced a very dangerous situation, because every Jamaican's basic rights and freedoms are suspended when they're in a state of emergency. Many thousands of Jamaican youths have been held in detention under these states of emergency, often for long periods of time. Very few were ever charged with any serious offense. Many lost their jobs. Many have been stigmatized as a result of the way this government has used states of emergency. And it is costing taxpayers millions and millions of dollars as the court awards compensation to those who have been wrongly detained under those states of emergency. We consider this a serious abuse of power.
That is very skeptic to me, but me now go, you know what I mean? In the next video, me definitely share my opinion on the whole crime and security and the security transformation as well. He definitely brought up the transformation of the police force, you know, make sure them equipped, make sure say, you know, when they call the police, you know, them now go tell us say, boy, you know, squaddy have a van round there, so you know, and squaddy go check one of little one of little, you know, little girl them on the road and them something there. You know, so he definitely mentioned about equipping the police force with the equipment that they need so badly.
We in the People's National Party understand these things, and that is why we are in favor of effective interventions to deal with youths who are at risk. The next PNP government will ensure there is a well-funded, wide-reaching national program to provide opportunities for vulnerable youths. We must give them a chance to become productive citizens through mentorship, training, remedial education, job placements. We must help them to develop life skills, building their self-esteem and their sense of citizenship. The Jamaican society was built on a system which embraced violence. In our decolonization mission, we must seek to repair that aspect of our history. That is why we favor restorative justice methods. The Peace Management Initiative will be revamped, revitalized, and made to work in all the hotspots across the country. We have seen over and over again how reprisals kill and maim the innocent, including precious little children. We need a system in communities that can manage that.
That was the last of it. So yeah, so that was the 85th conference of the PMP party at the National Stadium, and that is it. What you feel? What did you take away from this conference and this speech? Is this enough for you to say, you know what? Time come now for Mark Golding. Time come now for a new leader. Or were you looking for something else? Were you say, okay, you know, say, me never hear this or me never hear that. What were you looking for to say, you know what? And you never hear because, you know, this affect you in a real life and you don't want to hear that. So, did you hear anything that you say yes? Or did you hear something where you say no? You know, leave it in the comment section. Again, my name is Leon and this is Jamaica TV Live, my personal opinion on politics today, and we just did a review of the 85th PMP conference. Mark Golding's time come now. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Alright, we'll see you in our next video, and thanks for watching this channel. Big up on yourself.